Okay, I finished my gauge swatch. I promise it's the same yarn. It came from the middle. See all these colors? See that green in there and that blue? It's the same. It's the same yarn. So I made my swatch with size 8 knitting needles, and when I measure it with my gauge with my little sewing and knitting gauge is what this thing is. I've had it forever. I think it belonged to my mom. Yeah, Mama, I took it from you. I'm a thief. Yeah, I took it, gosh, I think back when I was a little girl, when I was learning to sew. I've had it ever since. It's been in my little sewing basket. Anyway, so when I put it across here and I measure and I count my stitches, I have 19 stitches in 4 inches. And I should have 18 stitches over 4 inches. So I will definitely have to switch to a size 9 knitting needle when I make my Tank Tunic right there. But I'm really in love with this yarn, and I cannot wait to see how my tank turns out with all these pretty colors on it. With the pastels, I've got like a peach and a really pretty pink, a sea green, sea foam, a lighter yellowish spring green, and a really pretty sky blue, and blossom purple. It's just lots of really pretty colors, and I think it's going to make a really pretty tank. So I'm going to make mine with size 9 knitting needles. Now, before you commit to your project, be sure and choose which size is right for you. They've got the bust measurement here. A size small is 34 inches or 86.5 centimeters. A medium, your bust measurement is 40 inches or 101 centimeters. Large is 46 inches or 116 centimeters. Extra large is 50 inches or 127 centimeters. 2X is 56 inches or 142 centimeters. And 3X is 62 inches or 157.5 centimeters. So that's the finished bust measurement. That's not your actual bust measurement. That would be, see how this is a loose hanging garment? So it's going to be hanging loose on you. So if your actual bust measurement is like 46 inches, you'd probably still want to make a size 2X or an extra large, because this should have lots of room for you to breathe and be comfortable as you wear it. It should not be a fitting garment. So that will help you choose your size. And let's see here. These other measurements here tell how long the tunic will be from top to bottom. That's the measurement of how long it is. So you can look at this and get a tape measure and hold it to see how long your tunic will be hanging, and you could make changes to the pattern. If you don't like how long that is, you could change that. So I've decided that I'm going to make size 2X for me, and I need to use size 9 needles for the large size, and then it also says that I need a pair of size 6 needles, so I will switch that to 7. So I'm going to use size 9 and size 7 needles. So I know that now because of having done my swatch, that I knit too tight with the size 8 needle, so I need to move up to a higher needle. So the only way you can know that stuff is by doing a swatch. And here I'll use a size 7 16-inch needle. And my gauge you're supposed to have 18 stitches equals 4 inches in stockinette with the larger needles. This gauge that was on the original pattern is not correct. I got this correct gauge from Yarnspirations. Now, then you want to read through the pattern and make sure that you understand the stitches. And if you come across a stitch you don't understand, like where it says knit through together TBL, and you don't know what that means, that's knit through together through the back loop, you can pull up a YouTube video and see someone doing a knit through together through the back loop. Or you can watch me when I do the tutorial when we get to that point. The other thing you'll want to do is to read through it and find every spot where they have things in parentheses like this. What that is that's all the different sizes. This is how many you would cast on for the small, and so you'd cast on 83 for a size small, 101 for a size medium, 113 for a large, 119 for an extra large, 131 for a 2X, and 143 for the 3X. So since I'm making size 2X, I'm circling that 131, so I know that's how many I need to cast on. And every other place that you see parentheses, circle the one that goes with your size, and that way you won't have any hesitation when you get to that point later in the pattern. So I've gone through and I've circled the next to last one under every time I see parentheses. I've circled that, so I don't have to think about that later on. And then I just finished reading through it, and you can also see a little schematic of the finished tank top, and it's got some measurements here, and it helps you understand how big this is going to be when you finish with it, so you can figure out these measurements and hold them across your own body and see how it will hang. And if you're not happy with that, then you can switch to a smaller size, or you could just make some adjustments, like you could make it shorter instead of having it so long at the bottom, or if you don't want it to be this wide at the bottom, you could change the pattern to make it more comfortable for you. I'm not really very good at changing patterns. I pretty much make things exactly as the pattern says, so you can find things on the internet about how to make those changes. Anyway, now that we've written everything on here that we need, the only other thing we have to do is to get all of our supplies together. And they do tell you on the pattern what you need. You need your yarn, of course, and then it tells you how many skeins. And since I'm not using Caron Simply Soft, I have to check to make sure I have enough. Now, I know that if I use Caron Simply Soft, I would have needed 4 skeins, and each skein of Caron Simply Soft is about 300 yards, so I know that I need about 1,200 yards. So I had to look here on my mosaic skein, and I can see it's 209 yards in each skein, so I need at least 6 skeins of this, and I've got plenty. I've got about 12 skeins of it, so I'm in good shape. So double check and make sure you have enough yards of your yarn. And then we need our size, the knitting needles that you need, and we need 2 different sizes, and then we need a circular 16 inches long. And when they're talking about a circular, I'll show you one. This is not the right size, but it is a circular. See, there's a circular needle. It's got points at each end, and then it's got a cable connecting it, and the measurement is 16 inches across from point to point. So it's 16 inches all the way around there. They also make circular needles like this that are different lengths, that are 24 inches or 36 inches. You don't want to use those. You need 16-inch needles for a reason. So be sure and get the right size. And the only other thing you need is stitch markers and a yarn needle. And I'll show you how those work as we're going. This is one kind of stitch marker. It's a locking stitch marker. And you can put this like on a stitch after you work it, and it'll mark a spot in your knitting, and it'll stay there like that. That's one kind of stitch marker. The other kind of stitch marker is just a little round ring like that, and you just put that on your needle as you're working. So you could get a pack of each of them if you want, and that way you'd be prepared for whatever kind of stitch marker you need. Stitch markers are not cheap, not expensive. They're only like a couple dollars at the most for each little pack. So that's not a big thing, and it's something that you'll use over and over again in your knitting. So it's good to go ahead and get some good ones. And a yarn needle. A yarn needle is just something that you'll weave in your ends with later with a great big hole. And there's all kinds of different sizes. This is a really big one here, but you can get them different sizes. And they have a blunt end. They're not sharp, so it's good for working with your knitting, for weaving in ends and stuff like that. So that's what you need to get started, and I will see you in the next video when we cast on. Bye.